TS55F is a mains-powered plunge saw that is designed for sawing various materials and has an extensive system of accessories and consumables available. In this guide, we'll take a look at the different features, setup and some system accessories. Plunge saws are commonly used with guide rails. On initial setup, the saw base needs to be fitted to the rail. This guarantees a good quality of cut. Place the saw on the guide rail and check if there is any lateral movement between the base and the rail. If so, turn the cams clockwise until the saw fits snug on the rail. Make sure the cams are not over tightened by sliding the saw down the guide rail. If the saw does not slide easily, loosen the cams slightly. To prevent unexpected startups, the power switch is a safety interlock. Before the saw can be started or plunged, the plunge release must be engaged. To start the saw, push up on the plunge release and pull back on the trigger. Once the trigger has been engaged, you no longer need to hold the plunge release. The plunge saw is equipped with a depth stop for setting the depth of the blade when cutting. Using the correct blade depth improves cutting safety, cut quality and motor efficiency. The depth stop has two index pointers that are 5mm apart. One is used to indicate the blade depth when used without a guide rail, and the other is used to indicate the blade depth when used with a guide rail. To change the depth setting, press in on the index pointer and slide it up and down to the desired setting. The leading edge of the guide rail has a replaceable rubber zero clearance strip that once fitted gives you the exact cut line and reduces material tear out. With the saw base fitted to the guide rail, the first time the saw is used on the rail, the strip is trimmed to match the saw blade. Set the saw to 10mm on the FS depth setting and operating speed at 6, then cut the splinter guard to fit. The outer splinter guard is used to prevent chipping on the off-cut side of the saw blade. It is fitted in place of the clear view window when a good quality of cut is required on both sides of the blade. The outer splinter guard is a consumable item and will need to be replaced periodically when worn. Like the guide rail splinter guard, the first time you use the outer splinter guard, it will be trimmed to match the blade. The plunge saw has electronic speed control with soft start, constant speed under load and thermal overload protection. The speed control is variable from 2000 RPM to 5800 RPM. The optimal speed of the saw is predominantly determined by the type of material being cut. The plunge saw has a riving knife for increased user safety when cutting. The riving knife follows the blade while cutting to prevent pinching and potential kickback. When plunge cutting, the riving knife will retract into the saw's housing, then drop down once it's in the cut. Festool offers a variety of saw blades for cutting materials including timber, plastics, aluminium and cement sheet products. The plunge saw features a fast fix system for easy blade change. The fast fix system is engaged by raising the fast fix lever and plunging the saw down. For safety, the power switch is locked out. The plunge depth is locked into position with the arbor bolt accessible through an opening in the blade cover. Using the hex key, loosen the arbor bolt by turning it anti-clockwise. Place the saw on the side and remove flange and bolt. Lift the blade out and slide the new blade in. Reinstate flange and bolt. Then lay saw over, base and tighten. Release fast fix lever. The depth can be accurately zeroed out if the adjustment is necessary or when required after blade sharpening to ensure depth from the zero point is always accurate. With the saw off the rail, set the depth to 0 on the standard depth setting side on the indicator. Plunge the saw and check depth for where the blade sits in relation to the material. Adjust the fine adjustment with the hex key, either higher or lower, until an accurate 0 point is attained. The bevel range of the saw is adjustable from 1 degree and 47 degrees and has fixed stops at 0 and 45 degrees. The bevel angle can be adjusted by loosening the front and rear bevel screws. Tilt the saw until the index pointer is aligned with the desired angle, then tighten the bevel screws. By pulling out the limit release knob at the back enables you to override the stop to 47 degrees, and adjustments to -1 degree is gained by pivoting the stop on the front and the limit release knob together. When adjusted back to 90 degrees, the stop will pivot back to ensure 0 degrees is attained. The TS55 plunge saw can be used with or without dust extraction. When used without an extractor, the chip diverter swivels to direct sawdust away from the work area. For flexibility, a dust bag can also be fitted. When connecting to a dust extractor, the 27mm hose fits internally and the 36mm hose externally to the chip diverter. The plunge saw has indicators that represent the blade finish position when plunge cutting with the guide rail. There is a mark on the saw's outer casing, clear view window and splinter guard. This is a finished position of the blade when set at full depth. Place the saw on the guide rail and position it at the start of the cut on the plunge mark. Install the limit stop on the guide rail, slide it up to the back of the saw and lock it in place. With the saw firmly seated against the beginning limit stop, start the saw and slowly plunge it down. Advance the saw through the cut until the end is reached. Hold the saw fully plunged until the blade comes to a complete stop. The TS55F has a system of accessories and consumables that allow the user to adapt to suit different applications. A series of blades for achieving quality cuts in different materials, clamping options to suit different working situations, protractors and squares for quick and efficient working. Also dust extraction for compliance when working with dangerous dust. To keep yourself updated on Festool product information and applications, subscribe to our channel below.